Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Designers Chat. Thank you guys for being with me tonight. We're starting a little late. Sorry about that. We were trying to get everybody in here and waiting on a few people. But we're going to get started. It's already almost 10 o'clock, believe it or not. So it started a little bit later than we wanted to. But just looking over here in the chat, seeing who's all here. I see Donna over there. Hello, Donna. Ooh, there's Al. Hello, Al. And that's about it for right now. Just Donna and Al. Hopefully some more people. Oh, there's Jim. Hi, Jim. Welcome. Donna, is it okay if I make you the admin for the chat for the show? And there's Carol Schultz. Hello, Carol. Oh, wait. I already made you moderator. So, yeah, you should have control, Donna. Okay. All right. All right. You should have already have control, Donna. I think I made you moderator a long time ago. I've never changed it. How? I've been good, Al. Busy but good. Now that we finished the one expo, I've started working on the next one, believe it or not. So that's how it works, I guess. All right, guys. Well, let's get started with what we need to do. So the first step is we're going to be making an ambulance. And this is the one that I want right here. So I'm going to go to all right, I gotta add. Oh, I forgot I gotta share screen. So give me a sec, guys. All right. Okay. Yes, with great power comes great responsibility. Is this on every Thursday? No, it's on whenever I decide to do a show. Jim, that answers your question. When I decide to do a designer's chat, normally Monday nights are the one show I do is scroller's chat. Well, when I design, then I call it designer's chat. So it's whenever I have time to do a show or, you know, have some reason to make one. Like last time it was, we did the GTO for Tracy. All right. Okay, so I had already saved my ambulance from Google. And I believe it's save. Make sure it's in the downloads. That's not where it's saved. So where is it? Oh, okay, it's on the desktop. That's where it is. All right, so let's get started, folks. I'll go back to share screen. I found where I saved it. I couldn't find it for a second, but I found it. All right, so click on me. All right, so right here on my desktop, I have my fire truck saved in here. Or sorry, not the fire truck, but my ambulance. So I'm going to drag it because I already have GIMP open. Just gonna drag it in here. There it is. All right. Now, first thing I want to do So I want to go to my rectangular select tool. I'm going to remove some of the background of this that I don't feel is necessary. So I'm just going to make a box around it, take out some of the detail I don't need. For right now, I'm going to leave the shadow in there underneath the truck. Okay, then I'm going to go to, now that this is selected, you can see the marching ants around it. So I'm going to go up here to File, then the next one over is Edit. So I go to Edit, and then I go to Cut. And now it removes that section only. Then I go to Edit, I go File, Edit, and then I go Paste As, New Image. And erase this, or just exit out of this image, bring this image up. And now you can see this one. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to go to Color, Brightness, Contrast. I just want to touch this contrast a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. That looks good there. And then I want to go to Filter, up here, Filter, Artistic. I got Cartoon. Now with this cartoon, you kind of got to play with it till you get it. Now in GIMP, there's only one small problem about GIMP is this never lets you make it full so you can see all the image at once. So you got to use this to drag it around. Then come over here and use this to drag it the other way. Now when you're doing this cartoon, you just need enough detail that it selects everything. You don't need to go crazy with it. We're not doing something that has a lot of detail like a hawk or something like that. If you were making something like a cheetah or a hawk, then you'd go crazy on the contrast. But one that's just not as much detail in it, you can just kind of go lower on the contrast. See how that put that in there. Now you can see this has more contrast to it. So now what we're going to do is we come back to Colors, Brightness, Contrast. We're going to move the contrast over just a little more. We're going to keep doing this. Then we're going to go right back to Repeat Cartoon because we already know that it's the right. No, I already know it's the right amount of the cartoon because we just did it. So let that thing do its work. And you'll notice that it just did it. So then I'm going to come back to, you guessed it. Oops, cancel. I didn't mean to do that. Colors, Brightness, Contrast. Bring this over again. Once or twice. Then you want to go to, you guessed it, Filters, Repeat Cartoon. Let that do its thing. And now this time when it's done working, we're going to take a look and go to see if it'll work if we go to Photo Filter Copy or to the Filter Photo Copy. All right, Artistic. Now this time we're going to try it and see if it works as a photocopy. So we're going to go to Filter, Artistic, Photocopy. And we're going, again, didn't mean to do that. All right, so it's still here. So this one, we're just going to drag it, make this box bigger so we can see better. All right. So you can kind of see what I'm looking at is this area for the ambulance. Going back across here. You just got to play with this till you get it the way you want it. I think that should be good right about there. There you go. Now it looks like a scroll saw pattern or coloring book pattern. The next step would be to remove the background. So what we want to do is you want to come along the edge of the hood. Don't erase the line. Actually, that's too much in. These lines that are already here, just leave those in, and you can use those That's kind of a reference point for where you want to put your line, because if you remove those lines, then it won't look right. All right, so you just want to go up to that line, and all you're doing is you're adding points by clicking with your left mouse button, and you can actually move these by holding down the mouse button and moving them. So what I'm using is, because I didn't explain that, I'm using the free select tool right here. It looks like a little lasso. And that's what I'm doing. I'm using that. And then I'm just adding the points around the image by clicking along the outside of the line. We want to save the black part, so we don't want to erase that. So right now, I'm just going to go along the outside of this, come across here. You want to come around the outside. Come all the way up in here, but don't erase this pattern, or this line here. And then you want to come across here, bring it back up here. And you want to come over here. One thing that might make it easier for you guys when doing this is to zoom in on the pattern. I'm not doing it because I've done it so many times that it just kind of comes natural to me. But if you want to make it easier on yourself, you could zoom in. All right, so now we're coming across the top of the ambulance, up to the top. Now you want to come around that little turn there, come across the top of the light bar, or I might be on the top of the ambulance. Come down, right here, come back in along this line. Actually, coming along this line. Now see here, you just don't erase that line. You just go with what the lines are. You let the natural lines be your guide as you're coming through here. So this is going to be erased down to there. All right, folks. Now I have the whole thing selected. Now there's a couple of different options here. Since this is selected and you can see the marching ants around it, you could go select, invert, and then go cut, and it'll take out the whole image for you. Or, well, not the whole image, but it'll take out the background for you. All the stuff we don't want. That's the first option. Option number 2 is select, invert, cut. This will take the ambulance out for you. And then if you wanted to, you could go to paste as, new image, and boom. That's option number 2 for you. Option number 3 is more time consuming. But if you choose this option, it's an option 2, so I'll show it to you, is to go to the paintbrush tool down here. Make this pretty big, make this white. Make sure that you don't have the inside of the ambulance selected before you do this. And then you go to invert, so you just select the background. But ultimately, even if you chose option 1, 2, or 3, you still want to drop it onto a white background. So ultimately, you're going to have to do this step anyway. So this is pretty much necessary just to add the white anyway. So whichever way you're more comfortable with, but eventually you're going to have to add a white background to it. All right, so now that we added the white to it, we got rid of all the background, and it's just the ambulance now. I'm going to pop over to the chat for just a sec, see if anybody has any questions for me. I'm looking at the chat now, guys, so if you need any, if you have any questions, let me know here. Gotta go to a couple amusement ride manufacturers done staying overnight. Why? Why are you going to amusement ride manufacturers? Is that what you do, Jim? I didn't know that. That's awesome. I hope you don't work for that evil thing called Cedar Point. I'm still mad at them. They killed Jogga Lake. Hope you don't work for those guys. Sorry. Sorry if you do. But they killed Big Dipper, so I don't support them. Oh, you make sensors and controls for roller coasters. Okay, that's fun. Right, back to the pattern. All right, so now that we've got the background erased, I'm going to go to image. Now it's at 4,000, so that's pretty big. So we're going to go to our magnifying glass right here, under the scissors, under the skizzers. And we're going to take that and we're going to zoom in where we want to start working. Pick a spot that you want to start working at. For right now, I'm going to start on inside of the window here. You can see it still has some background on it. So I'm going to go to document dialogues, toolbars. Up here is Windows. You go to document dialog, then you go to toolbar. That puts this one up there, and then you go to options. And it's hiding down here. Why does it always do this? I don't know why. It always feels the need to go down here. So what I have to do, export as ambulance. I'm going to have to close this out and restart GIMP so that I can get my panel I need. Discard. All right. I'm glad you don't work for Cedar Fair. Still mad at them. They killed my park, so I try not to support them at all. And they got their hands on Kenny, or not Kennywood, Kings Island. They bought Kings Island too, so it's only a matter of time before they close that one too. All right, so this one, now I reopened it, so now I can open this pattern again. I just want to drag it in here if it wants to cooperate. So you can just drag it right in GIMP. There it is. Go to Window. Go to Tool Options. See, that's the window that was buried. I couldn't find it. All right, Windows. Go to Toolbar. There we go. All right, now we can start working. I'm going to zoom in with the magnifying glass. Just click, click, click until you get as big as you want. All right, and then what you want to do now is, since we're going to work this area and clean this up, we're going to go from black to white on top. In order to do this, this is the foreground background. You can switch it by just hitting this little arrow right here, and you'll see it changes. So right now, you want white as the foreground, because essentially we're using white to do the erasing. I say erasing, but it's not really erasing, it's painting, because you don't use an eraser tool in this process. You use the paintbrush tool. You never use the eraser. So it's not erasing, it's painting, but you're removing this part from the image. So you're erasing this part, but it's not actually called erasing, it's painting white in this area. So you just gotta come in here and clean up this area. You would come through, now that that's cleaned up. I'm gonna zoom out just to show you guys. See, that's gone now. So you would come through and you would clean this up just the same way everywhere on this image. Now I have one that, for the sense of this video, I'm going to go to, because it's a little farther along, I think. One of these two. It's either this one. Yeah. That one. Or this one. You can see this has more erased on it. So it's a little farther along in the erasing process. See how what happened here? But you can see that all that noise is gone. So now that I'm doing this, to speed things along, I'm going to work from this one, just so that you guys, it's still the same process. It's just, this will make it a little bit shorter time-wise. We don't want to do another 8 videos length of GTF. Unless you guys want 8 videos, but I don't think you do. So basically, I'm just going to come in here and clean up this line. So I get it the way I want. So all this noise in here could actually come down here. Another thing that would help you out at this point is to zoom in, like I said. But I like zooming out. Just got to be a little carefuler with it. But once you get the hang of drawing in GIMP, you'll be all right. So this part here, I can erase. Erase it down below. All right. Now when I dropped this pattern on here, this background noise came back again. So apparently I didn't erase it on this one. That part. Because I'm drawing and using full screen, I can't really see the chat. So if you guys have questions for me, probably would have been easier had I had somebody on here to look at the questions while you were asking them, but it didn't work out that way. But anyway, so right now I'm just working on cleaning up this area. And here, as you're working, if you need a smaller paintbrush, you just come over here and you can adjust this to the size you need. Like right now, I can't really see it too good, so I'm going to go to the magnifying glass, zoom in. make my life a little easier. One thing you need to know is when you zoom in GIMP, your paintbrush tool gets bigger. So you might have to readjust it if you're doing a small area. All right. You can see while I'm zoomed in, I can come over here and clean up stuff too. I just went over here and adjusted this, made it bigger, because there's a lot more area to work here. I see this line going down, wondering what it is. So it goes there, and then dies over there. Alright, so then I can adjust this, make it a little smaller, so I can go down in this area and work. One thing you can do when you get good is you see how these like stick out. You can just go here with the real small edge of this circle tool and you can straighten them out. When you get good enough to do that, it helps because it helps you straighten out a line and give that straight look to it without actually having to draw a straight line. All right. So I'm going to move over here. I see some noise in here. There's that. Come over here. Some mark in here. I'm going to leave that line. Come up here. Actually needed. All right. So we've done this little area. All right. So that little area we did. Now we come over here. Work in here a little bit. You can see there's some noise up in here that has to be erased. All right. Now right here, see how that's kind of sticking out? If you're really careful, you can come along this line and clean it up. All right. I think come down here, clean up this area. If you make a mistake in GIMP, just hit Control Z. You can hit it probably about 5 or 6 times before you can't reverse it anymore. The other thing I'd recommend when you're designing in GIMP is if for like I'm painting with a paintbrush tool. So if I make a mistake, what I do is if I'm taking something, I don't take my finger off the button while I'm doing it, and then if I hit Control Z, it'll erase all of it. And then if I want it so that I'm doing just a little area, like say I just want to erase this right here, this area, but then I came in here and accidentally erased that, I can hit Control Z, and if I'm still painting and I still have the button held down while doing this, now when I hit Control Z, it doesn't recognize that this was the last one I did. It recognizes I did all of it. So what I recommend is if you want to work in an area, but you got to leave this part, just work in this area first, and then make sure you on-click, take your finger off the mouse completely. So whenever you take your finger off the mouse, whatever you did will be the last thing it remembers. So there I go. So here's, just to show you, here's me painting this area. I take my hand off the mouse. Then I go in here and do this. Now the second thing. So there, I erased that one. And then I said, whoops, I made a mistake. So I hit Control Z and it put it back for me. Now I said, whoops, I made a mistake, and I hit Control Z again and then put that back. So you see it actually does it in 2 steps. So if you guys keep your finger down on the button and you erase something, it'll erase all of it. So I recommend while designing to train yourself to just do a little area first, then let go of the mouse button, then come back and do the next thing you need to do. That way you don't accidentally erase something that you needed to erase. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Alright, so we got that little area taken care of. Let's zoom out real quick, see where we're at. So what we did was this. I don't even know where we were. Trying to figure that out. Oh, we were in here. So we went up in here, and up in here. Then we came down in here. This is the mirror. All right, let's zoom out pretty quick. All right, so that's what it looks like so far. You guys can see that we cleaned up this part here, right here. Then we went in here and we cleaned up this area. And we cleaned up this and this. And don't worry about this line breaking. We'll fix it. We'll make it back later when we go through in the final step of the process. And any of these lines you see that are broken, don't worry, we'll fix them. All right. So right now, that's how it looks. Now I can zoom in to wherever I want to work next. So say I want to work under the door here. I can go down here and work. I can either leave this in here or take it out. If you want to leave it, just make it a black 7. One. Or you can take it out, whichever you prefer. Me, I think. All right, so I'm going to show you guys another option to do these a little bit faster. So the lasso tool that we were working with earlier is called the free select tool. One thing we can do with this is we can make really straight lines. So instead of using the paintbrush tool where you have crooked lines, this will give you really, really straight lines. So if anyone ever asks me, dude, how do you get those lines so straight and crisp? This is how I did it. See this line right here? This is my baseline. So I'm going to take this tool and I'm going to go right up here and I'm just kind of go along these edges and I can straighten up these lines. Well, it's not cooperating at the moment, but this is how I get my straight lines. Go in here, go over here, go here. See how this is kind of not straight? I can just kind of go like this. And that's not straight. So, come across. Alright, so then select invert. Oops. Select invert. Now, if you do that and it erases inside the 7, you just go Control Z and then you go select. If it wants to cooperate, invert. And do it again. Alright, select, invert. How are you doing? It doesn't want to work right now. Anywho, let's try this again. Deselect one. Okay, do this different way. I want to make a straight line. This is coming across where I want it to be straight. And I add in these points. And then I can take select, invert, and it'll just erase the outside of the 7. And I can erase that other part where it was kind of chunky. And you guys can see that this will make it straighter. See, that makes it straight. If you did that for every line on this pattern, you can start to see how you can make it straight. That's how I do my really straight lines. All right. So I can also use this to use areas, select areas. So I don't want to go on the other side of the 7. So I'm going to go down here, select down to this line, and then bring it across. Come up here. And right now, I can actually go through here and clean up this area. And this area. Without actually erasing either of those lines. Or you can come in there with your paintbrush tool. You don't have to do that if you feel so inclined. I just wanted to show you guys there's another option for that if you use the lasso tool. Alright, so right now I'm just coming in here with the paintbrush, cleaning up this area. Alright. That area is cleaned up. I don't know what's going on with this right here. My answer for that is I'm just going to drop another line on there, clean it up. Okay, so I'll come down here, trace the Anything I don't need. You guys can see we cleaned up this area right here. Started working here and here. All right, I'm going to jump over to the chat. So if you guys got any questions over there, let me know because I'm looking new. Question from Jim. Is it worth clearing all of the little shadow dots off of it? Depends, Al. Or I'm sorry, Jim, not Al. It depends where they are and what they are in the pattern. If they're not anything that are necessary, then I would just get rid of them. The simpler you make the pattern, the more effective you can make it. So I always go by that same sense of keep it simple, stupid. So the easier you keep it, that was something I learned back in graphic school. I'd always say, keep it simple, stupid. So following that guideline from graphic school, you would probably, I would just erase them, if that answers your question. Like I said, if it doesn't necessarily take away or add to the pattern, then I just get rid of them. Yes, the KISS principle, exactly. Yes, that's right, Al. The KISS principle. Not like Gene Simmons, just the kisses. Keep it simple, stupid. That's what we learned back in graphic school. All right. Okay, Jim said, yep. Is it for the aesthetics of it, Jim? All you really need to do is cut the lines. Yeah, exactly. Al said all you would need to do is cut the lines. It's up to you guys, obviously when you're designing how much you want to add and how much you want to take out. A lot of these lines that I take out, I end up putting back in the finished piece. Most of them, a lot of them, but a lot of this is cleaning up, stuff we don't need, and then some stuff I actually take out and then I'll re-add it later. It's just the process that I go through to complete it. Like you'll see, for instance, like here, you could take this isn't needed, this isn't needed, and none of this is needed. But if you look at this, you might want to keep this line or this line, if maybe, because it's got the shadow for the mirror. And that's up to you guys. For instance, let's just look at that real quick. Now, if you were to leave these lines in, like so, but then take everything else out, you can come in here, clean that up. But I mean, when you zoom out and you look at the pattern, you can either say, hey, I want to leave these because I want to cut those, or you can go like that and erase them. I mean, that's like for you guys to decide when you're designing, aesthetic wise. Like it doesn't take anything away if you don't, and doesn't add anything. Unless you want to keep it, you can keep it. But it's up to you guys as you're designing. It's as a designer, you got to make those calls whether you want that or not. And it depends also if you're cutting a beginner, trying to make a beginner level pattern, intermediate level pattern, or an advanced level pattern. So me, I tried to keep my card patterns, well, the majority of them, in the intermediate range. But then again, some of them I try to keep in the beginning range because some people, they tell me like, well, those tires are too advanced for me. I just started out. So I try not to add too much detail, but then sometimes you got to, and you know, so you just kind of got to judge it as you're making it. All right, so I just cleaned up that area there, took those lines out. So like I said, I hope that answers you guys' questions. Like for me, I operate under, like I said, I operate under the keep it simple, stupid. Now, this line here, you guys see it? I could theoretically do something like this where it's not there. And I could theoretically make this smaller. And I could erase that line there so that that's not needed. And I could actually remove this so that there's just that one line there. And if you guys hear a lot of drumming, that's my dog's tail. She's all happy. She's hitting a box with her tail. So if you guys hear loud, like thump, 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 that would be my dog. All right. So you guys, yeah, erase that. So I'm going to zoom out and show you guys. Okay. So now there's only one line there. See how there's only one line there now? Now it's a little less confusing when you go to cut it. Now down here, I see this door part was what came up here. So since we erased it on the top, we'll erase it on the bottom too. Still gonna have to look to it because I'm gonna leave that line in there. But I'm gonna come over here and up in here. All right. Zoom out. See, I don't like the way that was looking, so I hit Control Z. Okay. Well, I think I know what I need to do here. So come down here. Don't worry, we're going to re-add a line here so it looks like it's the line comes all the way down. All right, so that takes care of that problem. And let's zoom out for a second. Okay. Now when we're all said and done, oops, I zoomed in too much. Got a little too happy with the clicky. This line, I'll make it connect all the way over here. So from here, all the way over. And I'll make this line connect all the way down here, and this line will eventually get, penciled back in a little better than that. But this will get connected. This will get connected. This will be connected all the way across, and then of course we'll break the line so that it's not a floater. But for all intents and purposes, I wanted to show you guys that's. See, I removed all that other information for the door, so I had to come down and remove it at the bottom. I find when I'm designing what you have to do to one part of the pattern, you might have to do to the matching part on a car, so it's symmetric and doesn't look weird. All right, so let's erase this. This is exactly how you drop in a line. You take your lasso tool and make a rectangular, then you drop it in. Invert. I can erase anything around that line without actually erasing my line. I can just come in here, break those lines. Deselect. Now you see how I made that line connect. That's how you add a line. So in a place if the line's missing, like here, you can come in here and re-add a line in here. So it's not going to be a problem. This is kind of too much noise. I need to simplify this. It's a little too big. As I come through here, I can just I'm just going to clean it up. All right, as I'm going around here, I'm seeing things that I need to touch up with the paintbrush tool. That's all I'm doing, just moving around it. Finding things I need to clean up. Okay, I'm going to zoom out just to get a good look at what we've done. See, I just cleaned up this area. This area, took all that detail out. That wasn't needed. All right, now I'm going to jump over to the chat now. Click. Click, click, click. Hi, Ron. Welcome to the show. And yep. We're still talking. Oh, you guys are still talking over there about Kiss. Yeah. It's something I learned back in design school. But It works pretty good when designing patterns. If I always operate under if it's not needed and doesn't add or take away, then it's better to probably just take it away. And here, this is a lot of detail I don't think we really need.
Do I get homework today for the carpet for Saturday?
Alright, so I'm cleaning up that area. I see this line coming down from up here, and I'm curious if I shouldn't continue that line. Alright, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to add a line right here. And what I'm doing is I'm basing it off this line above it. And I'll go in and I'll make this line better later and match it up more. But for right now, I'm doing it quickly. I just wanted to show you guys dropping it on the line there.
Yeah.
Now I can go over here and clean up this area. Now, right now I'm removing this line. So it matches this line. All right. And down here, doing the same thing. So if I remove that line, I'm doing this because this line's still above it up here. I can see if they remove this one. There's some stuff down here that's not really needed. So it's erasing it. All right. Let's see what's going on over in the chat. Bye, Ron. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good night, Ron. All right. Well, I guess we'll take a break on that side. Come up here, work on some more fun stuff for a while. This lettering. If you guys actually really, really wanted to, you blew this up big enough, I guess you could clean all these technically and cut them. But These aren't good cut. Let's just think what we're going to do.
Hey, baby girl.
I'm testing these to see how they look. I mean, I suppose if you guys really wanted to, and you blew this pattern up, you could come in here and cut all these little holes, cut out each of these. But I think this might have been what Ron was asking about. Or Jim, not Ron, but Jim may have been asking about these dots. But the way I do it is I just simplify it. Here's the F. Here's the I.
Yeah, she's cute.
All right, guys. So I'm just gonna go through these letters and clean them up. Now this letter right here, R, want to actually cut correctly. So what we need to do is do something like this. An even simpler way of doing this would be to come over here to the text tool, go to the black, go to query, then you can come over here and make it something like impact. So I know that would be a good scroll font. And just type FIRDPART Firebird. And what you guys could do is put this, actually before we do that, let's go to layers, turn that layer off for just a sec. We're going to turn off these other two layers. Make sure we have white on top. Go to the paintbrush tool. You can actually rotate that text just a little if you wanted to. And then come over here to the scale. Scale tool makes it bigger, obviously. And then you can play with it till it looks right. I'm just going to have to play with it until we get it to look exactly right. It's actually starting to look pretty close. And we need it. Okay, and now the next step is we gotta zoom in, come to your rectangular select tool. And what we're going to do, right click on the box, and we're going to break this R so it's not a floater. I'm gonna do the same thing to any of these letters that are closed in. There we go. Fixed R. Rest of that looks okay. I'm going to zoom out. All right, now I'm going to work on this symbol here. So now that I cleaned up that symbol, I'm going to see if I can All right, so I'm going to lay these points in. Right now I'm trying to redo this symbol on the inside. That way. It looks like that. All right, so now I selected the inside of this. I should be able to clean this thing up. See what I'm talking about? When I can just take these circle, go right on the line, and use the corner of it to make it more straight. All right. But I'm not using the whole paintbrush, just using this little corner of it, or the side of it. All right. So that symbol's fixed. Now I think I might. Now you could do this one of two ways. You could leave this outside line, or what I'm going to do, since this is so close to this, to make it a little easier for the person cutting it, I'm going to do this. All right. I had to find the right layer so I could erase the rest of it. And right now I'm going to remove this. Cool. Alright, so right now I'm just dropping this line in. The line will eventually go all the way down and all the way up. So right now what I'm doing is I'm using this box that I just drew in here to clean up this line for me. Just a little bit. So eventually this line will be filled in all the way from top to bottom. Actually, I think I might do that. Alright guys, right now I'm trying to put this line in. which is eventually going to connect up here. There, that should work. Now I'm going to deselect it, and I undid what I did up here to it, so I'm going to do it again. There we go. I'm going to go to view, put on screen. All right, now you guys can see that I added the line going down all the way. So now it has the one line here. And I cleaned this area up a little bit. And I also took this outside line out of here on this logo. So right now I'm going to export this and save it. When you're in GIMP, you don't save, you export. So you go File, Export. So I'll make sure that it's saved okay. All right, so yep, it's saved. All right. All right, guys. It's 11:32. So for those of you still watching, this is where we're going to call it a night. Give me one sec. I'm going to stop screen sharing. Come back over there and check the chat real quick. All right, still 3 of you on here. Okay. All right, so that's where we're going to call it a night. Does anyone have any questions for me before I get off of here? Yeah. Okay. I didn't see what you meant by really smooth it out, Jim. I'm assuming that you meant when I dropped the line in. But anyway, I'm going to call it a night. All right, guys. I appreciate you all telling me I did a good job. I'll try to finish it up next day or so. It's going to be part of my emergency vehicle pattern book that I'm working on, and I'm going to be self-publishing that and selling it. So right now, I do not have any ambulances for it. So I need to finish an ambulance pattern. So this is going to be the one that we're going to put in there after it's done. So, all right. So you guys kind of got to see it first for anybody that watched it. So I want to say thanks to everybody that was over here tonight. Jim Brashears, Al Forte, of course, Donna Presley. Thank you, ma'am. Earl Schultz was in here for a little while. Trying to see everybody. Ron Norris, he was in here. Thank you for swinging by, Chat Nugget. See you next show. Till next time, Ron, click, click. All right, guys. I think that's it. I'm trying to see who else was in here, and I think that's everybody. So I'm going to call it a night, and we'll see you guys on the next Designers Chat, and hopefully it'll be in the next day or so here, and we'll see how far we get on the ambulance. All right? All right, guys. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the next show. Bye.